I am listening to Ronen Bergman's Rise and Kill First, and there's a line that stops me cold. A Mossad operative, born in Canada, raised in US, talking about Israel before the Six-Day War, says this: "Before the Six-Day War, Israel aroused in me the sympathy of an underdog." Before. Not after, before. That one word explains everything about how the world sees Israel today. Because in 1967, something changed. And it wasn't just the map. Shalom, I'm Igal and this is Middle East in less than 5 minutes. The Underdog Years. Let's rewind to 1948 through 1967. Israel is tiny, surrounded, outnumbered. The day after declaring independence, 5 Arab armies invade Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Iraq. All of them at once trying to strangle the Jewish state in its grip. Israel survives, barely. 1956. Egypt blockades Israeli shipping. Israel fights back in the Suez Crisis. 1967. Arab armies mass on Israel borders again. Egypt expels UN peacekeepers. Syria shells Israeli villages from the Golan Heights. Jordan's King Hussein gets dragged into a war he doesn't want by pressure from Egypt and popular sentiment. And then Israel wins. In 6 days. 6 days. Israel destroys the Egyptian Air Force on the ground. Takes the Sinai. Takes the Golan. Takes the West Bank. Takes East Jerusalem. Military historians call it one of the most stunning victories in modern warfare. A small country facing annihilation, turning the tables completely. But here's what else happened. Israel stopped being the underdog. The narrative flips. Before 1967, the story was simple. Tiny Israel versus the Arab world. David versus Goliath. Holocaust survivors building a nation while surrounded by enemies who openly called for their destruction. The world loved that story. Underdog stories sell, especially in America. After 1967, the story got complicated. Suddenly, Israel wasn't the scrappy survivor. Israel was the occupier, the military power, the one with territory, with tanks, with an air force that could wipe out enemies before breakfast. Suddenly, in the eyes of the world, David had become Goliath. And if Israel was Goliath, then who was David? Enter the Palestinians. The KGB saw the opening. This is where it gets deliberate. The Soviet Union had been backing Arab states for years. Military aid, advisors, weapons. But after 1967, they saw something more valuable than tanks, a propaganda opportunity. Ion Mihai Pacepa, a high-ranking Romanian intelligence officer who deflected to the West, documented this in his writings. He described how the KGB launched a campaign to rebrand the Palestinian cause. Before 1967, Palestinians were just Arab refugees from a lost war. Sympathy, sure, but not a global cause. After 1967, the KGB went to work. They helped craft the narrative, Palestinians as the ultimate underdogs. Indigenous people, colonized, oppressed, fighting for liberation against the powerful Western-backed occupier. They trained the PLO, they gave Yasser Arafat media coaching. They helped draft the language that reframed terrorism as resistance and painted Israel not as a tiny nation defending itself, but as an imperial project. The KGB didn't invent Palestinian grievances, but they packaged them. They marketed them. They turned them into a global brand. And it worked. Why the West loves underdogs? Here's the thing about America, about the West in general. We love underdog stories. Rocky, Rudy, the American Revolution itself. We are raised on narratives of the little guy beating the big guy. It's baked into our culture. The KGB understood this. They understood that if you can position someone as the underdog, Western audiences will instinctively sympathize. Facts become secondary. Complexity gets ignored. All that matters is the emotional frame. Who's David? Who's Goliath? Before 1967, Israel was David, tiny Jewish state surrounded by hostile Arab nations fighting for survival. After 1967, the script flipped. Israel had won too decisively. Israel controlled territory. Israel had a powerful military. And the Palestinians, stateless, scattered, under Israeli control in the West Bank and Gaza, they became the new David. Never mind that Israel was still surrounded. Never mind that Arab states still refused to recognize Israel's right to exist. Never mind that the PLO Charter called for Israel's destruction. The narrative was set: powerful Israel versus powerless Palestinians. The long-term consequences. This narrative shift didn't just change how people saw one war, it changed how people see the entire conflict. Suddenly, Israel's self-defense became disproportional force. Palestinian terrorism became resistance. Israeli security measures became oppression. Palestinian rejectionism became steadfastness. Every offer Israel made for peace, every territorial concession, every withdrawal, it didn't matter, because in the underdog narrative, the underdog is always right. The underdog's violence is justified. The underdog's failures are always someone else's fault. And Goliath is always the bad guy, even when Goliath is just trying not to get stopped. The underdog card is played forever. Here's what the KGB figured out and what Palestinian leadership had exploited ever since. Once you are established as the underdog, you can stay the underdog forever. It doesn't matter that the Palestinian Authority receives billions in international aid. It doesn't matter that the Palestinian leaders live in mansions while their people live in camps. It doesn't matter that every peace offer gets rejected. It doesn't matter that terrorism is celebrated, that martyrs get paid, that children are taught to hate Jews in UN-funded schools. None of that matters, because they are the underdog, and the underdog is always sympathetic. Israel, meanwhile, can never shake the Goliath label. Every act of self-defense reinforces it. Every military success proves it. Every time Israel survives, it becomes less sympathetic. The cruel irony. Here's the cruel irony. Israel's success is held against it. Israel turned desert into farmland, built universities, created a tech economy, became a regional power, and for that, Israel is resented. Palestinians, meanwhile, have been kept in refugee camps for 76 years by their own leaders and the Arab states that host them. They've been used as political pawns. They've been fed a steady diet of grievance and hatred instead of being helped to build a future, and for that, they get sympathy. One side build a nation, the other build a victim identity, and the court of global opinion, the victim identity wins. What the sources show. Ronen Bergman's Rise and Kill First documents the shift through the eyes of Israeli intelligence operatives who saw it happen in real time. Ion Mihai Pasepa's account of Soviet disinformation operations detail how the KGB deliberately rebranded the conflict. The historical record shows that before 1967, there was no Palestinian national movement as we know it today. The PLO was founded in 1964, but it was Egypt's Nasser who created it as a tool. After 1967, it became a cause. Western media coverage shifted dramatically. Before 1967, Israel was portrayed as embattled. After 1967, Israel was portrayed as occupier. The UN started passing resolutions. The academic left started teaching about Israeli colonialism. Campus activism took off. All of it rooted in the narrative flip that happened after the Sixth Day in June 1967. It's not about facts anymore. This is why arguing facts with pro-Palestinian activists often goes nowhere. You can point out that Israel offered peace multiple times, rejected. You can point out that Gaza was given full autonomy and turned into a terror base. You can point out that Israeli Arabs have more rights than Arabs in most Arab countries. Doesn't matter, because those are facts. And the narrative isn't about facts, it's about feelings. And the feeling is underdog, good, Goliath, bad. The Six-Day War saved Israel's existence, but it cost Israel something too. It cost Israel the underdog narrative, and in the West, especially in America, that narrative is everything. The KGB saw the opening and exploited it. Palestinian leadership has been playing that card ever since. And it works, because we are suckers for underdog stories, even when the underdog refuses every chance to stop being the underdog. Israel won this war in the 6 days, but it's been losing the PR battle ever since. Maybe it's time we stopped judging conflicts by who looks weaker and started judging them by who's actually trying to build peace. I'm Miguel, and this was Middle East in less than 5 minutes. Until next time, Shalom.